What is good, everyone? Soulstone survivors. This is Trials of Hershey. I don't know what you call the name. These are the equipment we are using though down here, if you are wondering, or the runes, I guess. This is pretty much a trial where you want to, well, survive, but also not pick the skill, like your best skills for down here, because after each round you are unable to pick them again. So I don't want to pick these because these are, well, the best ones. So we're going to pick like Firebolt. Pretty much doesn't matter too much. At least I don't think it does. I also want Death Vortex. So yeah, I'm going to pretty much re-roll over everything that isn't, if it is one of those, I mean, not if it isn't. The hounds are also really good. So this character just has like a really great, just pretty much base skill of these dogs. How they work is after you kill enemies, they drop these meat bones, and those increase your dog's damage. So since it's level 4, they get those buffs. So bunch of damage, cast frequency, and it's just crazy. And you have to fill up this bowl, which you need more and more bones in order to actually fill it up. So pretty much it gets harder as it, you level it up, but it also gets more and more damage. So it's fair, it makes sense. But if you don't fill it up before the dog gets there, it decreases in level. So as you can see, it just dropped. And our dogs, as you can see here, skill bite, these are our dogs right here. They just kind of do insane. So that's why like the skills don't matter too much, but the last wave is going to be ridiculously hard. I haven't done this difficulty before, but I did the one previous. This is the hardest difficulty. And the previous one was insane. I would like to get some more speed here. I'm a little slow, so I'm not going to take that, but I think this is the last enemy before we head to the next one. So there he goes, and pretty much we'll lose all of our upgrades, but we get one of these. And I'm going to take the movement speed again. We've got another, so you completed 1 of 4, so we're just going to kind of keep taking pretty much whatever. I also have the effects really low. I'll increase that a little bit. It's pretty much my skills. Transparency gets really chaotic though if you have them all the way up. At least once you get your skills and stuff, really massive and going crazy. But as you can see, our dogs are kind of just wrecking everything, which is partially what just makes this class so OP. There are other classes that are also good, but this one's definitely just got one of the best, probably for this. But then again, I haven't really tried that many classes, so I don't really know. I'm a big fan of the Death Knight though. He's basically rides a horse. He doesn't get dash, but he's super fast. Pretty cool. The biggest thing I'm looking for right now is armor and dodge and stuff like that. Survivability. Because we've got okay survivability, but some of these guys do a lot of damage. I think we're going to be alright though for this round too. Again, the last one's mostly the one you got to worry about, because then you'll have to fight a boss after these. At least that's how the previous waves have worked. I think we're going to be alright though. Dogs are just carrying us. And I'll show you exactly why I wasn't picking the skills that I wasn't picking. So how did our dogs do this time? Pretty good. Yeah, some of these other ones I actually did really well, but see, the first time it was literally not even close. All right, what do we got this time? Minus max health, more damage and cast frequency. I kind of want HP, especially because that's, I'm gonna get one shot. The last wave too we'll use a ton of our rerolls and stuff just to make sure we get good skill upgrades as well, not just skills. That should make it not too bad at least. As you can see, we are starting to take some damage here. Well, we actually healed up pretty quickly, but so that's why I didn't want to get rid of 70 HP, because we would have died. And that's also why we need the most we can for this last one. We got our dogs to 6, and okay, wow. Alright, so we completed 3, so this next one we are taking our good stuff. Minus health, we're going to reroll that. Minus movement speed, sure, we'll actually take that. So we're going to take mage, all of these, and I think that is all the ones. So we'll just take like flamethrower. Is it continuous? That's pretty cool. That's pretty sick. Not sure what the cooldown's for then, especially if it's continuous. I don't think I've actually ever grabbed this skill before, so that's pretty cool. Also not sure why I grabbed that attack speed, because I don't think that'll do anything. Yeah, another thing about having all these like similar is we can get skills that buff all of them. Do need some movement speed now though, like this. That's awesome. Pretty much though, just taking the best highest rarities. which is why the this is so good, because everything's green. You do lose one, so instead of picking 3, I picked 2, but that's kind of like a small price to pay. You could maybe argue that it's not as good because you'd have less, maybe, probability to get legendaries, but I don't even think that's true. So, plus the commons are like half of the uncommon, so this is just better. As you can see though, we're not looking too desperate here, which is good, which is why I saved these skills. That's the biggest thing that'll help, and that's where the this came in. I just implemented all of them to this character because they're just OP skills. There are some other good skills, but for the only picking one type, this is definitely the best type, at least in my opinion. Alright, here we go. This is where we get the fun part. Also, if you guys are wondering, there is a Steam code for this game. So if you want the game, there will be a free code I will post in the description, or maybe on the screen right now, not sure. There is only one though, so if you want to check out this game, definitely check it out. But we are going to absolutely cook this guy, at least hopefully. He's got tons of HP compared to the other ones. It's not even like close. So I want to make sure I continue to level up my skills here and try to keep the dogs on full health or full tiered up. Nice thing though about summons too, you don't have to really worry about them too much because they just kind of go off and just kill everything for you. So it's nice. You don't worry about just dashing around to survive. I would like some more slots though for them. There's a skill that pretty much gives you more summons for them, which is just awesome. But that's like an epic or legendary skill, so it's a little more rare, but it is also pretty OP. Yeah, right here, increase quantity, nice. That increases the max quantity and how many you summon per cast, which is just useful. So if they get one shot, then, well, you can get them all back in like one summon. We are slowly taking them down. I really need some more damage though. I'd like to get some skills that stack. The dogs start to fall off a little bit here just because they're not killing as many people, so we don't get as many bones. But we're staying alive because of the void, and then Death Vortex adds Doom, which pretty much will just one-shot something after you stack up enough of it. So it's really good, as long as you can stack it up. But now you can see why I wanted to make sure I get these good skills for this last fight. Otherwise, there's no way I'd have the damage. Yeah, this is what I want right here. Buffs all the shadows, which is pretty much every single one of my skills. Alright, second phase. So this is where it starts to get a little more chaotic, even though it already was. So I'm gonna turn down the graphics a little bit, that way I can see the red spots. This is where you want movement speed, just because it's easier to dodge everything then. Thankfully though, he is at least a little bit easier to hit now, because he's kind of the only one on here, so that's at least nice. But this is one of the most underpowered bosses you'll fight pretty much, just because of how it's set up. And what I mean by that is, you're not going to be very strong fighting him. Like in the, I guess, regular game you could say, even though this is the regular game, but not in this mode. You'll have just all those previous perks as well that you've picked, so you're just so much more powerful. So as long as you make sure you have your good skills, this is actually maybe easier than the regular, but that's kind of like, I'm not sure about that. Like I said though, there will be one free Steam gift code in the description, so if you want it, definitely grab that. But we are about to take this guy down. There we go. Very nice. And we unlocked the last character. Nice. So we can check our details here, and this is why I was saying that these summons are really good. The warriors are more so just to distract enemies, but, you know, they help too. But yeah, look at this. Skeletal Mage just absolutely blew everything else out of the water. And then you've got the passive skills, which is the Doom, and that did 100 million. So that was just as good as the dog. So yeah, Doom is OP. Well, technically these are both Doom, but just different ways of applying it. It's a little weird, but hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing. I'll see you all in the next one. God bless.